So we are going to be talking about how to build a capital raising machine that's going to fund your deals on autopilot. My name is Stephen Lee Thomas. I'll be your host today, and we're going to pull back the covers. I'm going to share with you what works and what doesn't work if you are trying to raise capital for your deals. Raising capital for your multifamily deals, it can be hard. You can struggle a lot with that. So what I'm going to show you today is how to build a capital raising machine that's going to help you fund your deals on autopilot. We're going to help you solve all of these problems, guys. But really quick, I see quite a few people joining. I need your energy. Your energy is my energy. The more energy you can bring to this call, the more energy I can give you, the more I can help you out. So let's just get started. Where are you guys calling in from? Can you guys put in the chat? I want to see in the chat. Where are you guys calling in from? What part of the world are you calling in from? So I'm going to jump over here into the chat. Just go ahead and drop it in the chat for me. So I'll tell you guys, I'm out here in California. Weather's great today. Loving it over here in California. So guys, put it in the chat. Let me see where you guys are calling in from. Where are you guys calling in from? I see Dallas. I see Houston. Let's get some people. Chicago. I need you guys active in the chat. San Jose, California, Las Vegas. I like Las Vegas. I like to go there for the Formula One race. So I was just looking at tickets the other day. New York, New Jersey. Awesome, guys. I appreciate you putting that in the chat. So look, guys, are you guys excited to learn today? Are you guys excited to figure out how to raise capital for your deals? I mean, so we all have this limiting belief. If you've never done this before, if you haven't cracked this code, we have this belief that we can't do this, that it's too hard, that no one's ever going to invest with me. And I'm going to show you how to break free from that. I'm going to show you how to move from that really uncomfortable feeling. All right. So here's what I want you to do. If you want to get the most out of this call today, the absolute most you can get out of this call today, stop multitasking. Put your phone down. Get off of social media, quit scrolling through Instagram, focus on the call. Just give me 1 hour, okay? Just give me 1 hour of your time. Focus on the call today, and I promise you, you're gonna leave with some great information. Stick around to the end, and you're gonna leave with some great information, okay? So real quick, do you guys know what a funnel is, what a marketing funnel is? Because that's what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to show you some strategies. The reason why I asked that question, recording audio. All right, so I appreciate that content there, the chat. So do you guys know what a funnel is? The reason I asked that question is because most people actually don't understand this concept, and that's where you're struggling. Okay, so if you've never heard of a funnel, you're like, what is this guy talking about? Like, what is a funnel? Like a capital raising funnel? Yeah. So you see this RaiseGenius right here. You see this funnel. Well, we're going to show you how to literally create a funnel that helps you raise capital for your deals. But here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk to you about a lot of the mistakes that I've made along the way and how I solved those problems. It was not overnight. So if you never met me before, my name is Stephen Lee Thomas. I'm a multifamily investor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a podcast host. And I also teach people how to raise capital for their multifamily deals. So my partners and I, we've raised over $70 million in capital for our multifamily deals. We've done over 16 deals, about 3,500 units. And we've been able to give a great return for investors. So in order for us to acquire those properties, obviously we had to figure out how to raise capital. And that's what I'm going to show you today. All right. So here is mistake number one. And I don't want you to make this mistake. So here's capital raising mistake number one. So you figured out how to underwrite a multifamily deal, and you've submitted an offer, you've got it accepted, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna go try to raise capital. All right. So let me quick story. I joined this multifamily mentoring program, learned a ton about underwriting, met a lot of really great people, got my partners so I could start doing deals. And they had a lot of training in there on, how to underwrite multifamily deals, how to submit offers, how to manage the properties. they had like 16 training modules, plus they had weekly meetings where we could come, we could ask questions. But one thing they really didn't have is any education on how to raise capital. So here's what I was told. It was like, of all those modules, there was like 45 minutes of training on raising capital. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'll follow what they said. They said, well, you got to raise capital. You got to build this database. So what did I do? I started going to these networking events. You've all heard about that. Go to networking events, meet people, and you can raise capital from them. So what happened is I went to events and I got a bunch of business cards. This is a box of business cards right here I'm holding up. And I got a bunch of business cards and I was told, create an investor database. So I have an IT background. I created this database. Right, I put a few hundred names in there, and one of the coaches like, cool, if you got that many, like, no problem, you'll be able to raise capital. So I got all these names. I had put these people into a database, got a deal under contract. We hosted a webinar, hosted our webinar. Hey, this is a great deal. And really, it's going to make a lot of money for people. And then what happened is, I said, hey, who wants to invest? And that awkward silence, it was just right there. That's what happened to me. I had one person out of two or 300 emails I had sent, invited people to this webinar. I had one person decided they wanted to invest. And I was like, shit, this sucks. So then I was like, well, I got to scramble to raise capital. Now, fortunately, my partners at the time, they were pretty good at it, but I hadn't figured this out. So what happens is most people is they're like, I'm going to go to these networking events. I'm going to get these business cards. And then when I got a deal under contract, it's going to be so great that the money's just going to follow the deal. They host a webinar and then they just scramble to raise capital. They reach out to a bunch of other people to help them raise capital. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. And every time you reach out to somebody else and you're like, hey, can you raise capital? And they come in, you've got to give up more and more and more of your equity. Not the greatest thing. So I did not get very much equity in my first deal. I got very, very, very little. Okay. Not what I would have hoped because I found the deal. I underwrote the deal. I put the deal together. I did so much work and I really didn't make very much money off of it. So lesson number one, okay, capital raising mistake. You can't just go to networking events and then get a deal under contract. It doesn't work that way. So I was like, all right, well, let me see if I can figure this out. What's the next thing I need to do? So how many of you think that if you have a website, it's going to help you raise capital, right? You're like, cool. Well, you know what I need to do? If I have a website, a really cool website, it's got all, this portfolio information on it. It's got all the information about the advantages of multifamily investing. If I do that and I go to networking events, then I'll be able to raise capital. It's a trap we all fall into. I did this myself. I went and got some coaching to get a website built and got some professional videos recorded, put it out on the website. And it was like the coaching I got was, hey, go tell people about your website. Then you're going to be able to raise capital. Let me tell you what happened. Got a deal under contract, hosted a webinar, same shit happened. Not cool. I was like, what? Okay, what's going on, right? So, scrambled to raise capital, had to reach out to other people to help raise capital. This is a very common mistake, you guys. So if you're thinking to yourself, ooh, the thing I need to do is I got to go to networking events and I need to get a website built. Like that's going to make it so I can raise tons of capital. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. That is not going to solve your problem. There's a huge piece that you're missing. So if you stick around, I'm going to show you that big piece. So that is mistake number 2. Then you're like, well, okay. So now I've got networking events. I've got these business cards. Now I've got a website. I know where to tell people to look. And well, I guess probably the missing piece of the puzzle is posting on social media. Most of us don't really like social media, but we think, well, what we've got to do to attract new investors is maybe if we can go to networking events, share our social media, we'll get them to see social media, then go to the website, then we'll be able to raise capital. Or we start posting on social media, but all we're really good at is, posting about, the dinner we went to or hanging out with our friends or the day we went to the beach. But now I got to start talking about all the advantages of multifamily investing. So you start posting that stuff thinking, man, this is going to be great. So how many of you, let me see in the chat, how many of you enjoy spending your time posting on social media? Just give me a yes or a no. Like, I love posting on social media, or like, I'd really like to just look, right? Is it yes or no? Like, let me see in the chat. Do you guys like posting all kinds of stuff on social media? Yes or no? Let me see in the chat. Yes, I like posting to social media. I am an influencer, or no, I'm not. I don't like to do social media. I like to scroll on it, but I really don't like to post a lot. All right. So there you go, right? So we get look, but try to not waste time. Guilty, right? I get on there and 45 minutes later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just wasted so much time. Justin says, nope, not really. Okay. So we don't really want to do these things, but we do it because we think that it's going to help us. We're like, well, it's really uncomfortable, but if I do it, maybe it'll help. Somebody else says, only if I don't have to show my face. BC, I get it, man. Like I I posting on social media, doing videos is like one of the most awkward things ever for me. So I was like, I really don't like doing this, but I did it anyways, right? I actually went and I paid for a program to learn how to, go viral on social media. I learned a little bit. Linda says it's okay either way for her. All right, cool. Maybe the strategy work for you, but the point is most people don't really like posting on social media, but they'll do it because they think it's going to help. Here's what they find out is that it doesn't, right? So you got networking events, you got a website built, you're posting on social media, but you're still missing a like huge piece of how to raise capital. So you go through the same process. You're like, if I get a deal this time, maybe the money will follow. Get a deal under contract, you host a webinar, and guess what? You're going to scramble to raise capital. You're going to have to reach out to other people, and maybe you'll get the deal done, maybe you won't. But I'll be honest with you, I have talked to people recently who have just had to walk away from a deal and lose their money. There's multiple people I have talked to recently that had got a deal under contract, put down money hard into a deal, and couldn't get it back because they couldn't raise the capital. And that is a horrible place to be. And you don't want to be there. Okay. So who wants to see how to solve this problem? Because I'm going to show you here. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to solve this problem. So if you want to see how to solve this problem, put yes in the chat and I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. So who wants to see how to solve this problem? I will show you the gaps that you have and the reason why you're not able to raise capital. If you haven't started yet, I will show you how to solve all of this so you can actually start raising capital really quickly. And some of these things you don't even need to do. You can actually shortcut a lot of this if you do it the right way. Cool. So you guys are ready. Let me show you. Let me scoot this over and I'm going to show you the right way to do this. Okay. This is the right way to raise capital. What I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you how to build a marketing funnel. Because really, at the end of the day, guys, when you are raising capital, it is nothing more than marketing and sales. And I'm going to say it in that order, marketing and sales. Most people say sales and marketing, but it's really marketing and sales. So I want you to realize there's multiple steps in here, but it's actually much easier than you think. And I'm going to help you understand why it's actually pretty easy. But the problem here is with all of those other things, you're going straight from, I met somebody, invest in my deal. I talked to you on social media, invest in my deal. It doesn't work that way. Okay. You have to learn how to get people warmed up to the idea. You have to learn how to get people to know, like, and trust you. So that's what we're going to walk through right now. So the way we do that, we have what's called a funnel. So we have these layers of the funnel, and we start with the top of the funnel. And so now these networking events, they are good. I'm not saying don't stop those. Building an online presence with a website, it is great. I'm not saying don't stop that. Spending time on social media is also great. I'm not saying don't stop that. For those of you that don't like it, there's some cheats you could put in to make it so you don't want to put your face on there. You don't have to do that. Like if you go and look at my social media profiles, if you look at LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook, you'll see that I don't do like the talking to the camera thing, and I'm very uncomfortable with it. I don't do that. But we have some strategies where we get to put a lot of content out and make it a lot easier. And then there is a time when it makes sense. I'm not saying you do this right now, but there's a time where it makes sense to actually run paid ads. And the reason why I bring this up right now is not to overwhelm and be like, oh man, like that's how I got to do it, run paid ads. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Like you can be very effective. I know people who have raised hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars by not running paid ads. But the reason why I bring this up is because most people look at running ads as an expense, and it's not. It's actually an investment in your business. And I'll explain more about that later. But I just have that one mindset shift right there. If there's nothing else, at some point, when you get the rest of this figured out, you'll be like, you know what? I want to like supercharge this thing. I'm going to run an ad because now my whole process is built and I just drive people into it. The ad just drives the people into it. Everything else just clicks. Okay. And that's where you really start to have this thing that runs on autopilot. All right. But just follow along with me. So, first thing is we have the top of funnel. This is just getting people aware of us. Think of it like you're driving down the freeway. You see a billboard on the side of the road, restaurant you never seen before, brand new opening up, like, ah, I didn't know there was a new restaurant in town. That's all you're doing. There's a new restaurant in town, okay? You're just sharing with people what it is you do. So something else I want you to think about is if you are new to multifamily, or maybe you've been doing it for a little while and you're not talking about it to the people in your circles or already in your network, you need to do that because they might know you as the manager wherever it is you're working. They might know you as the postal worker wherever it is you're working. They might know you as the doctor wherever it is you're working. But if you're not telling them what it is you're doing, they don't even know. You're not even giving them the opportunity to have that conversation with you to potentially invest. So lesson right there is talk about what you're doing. You want people to invest, you got to talk about what you're doing. Andrew, I will answer that question as we get towards the end of the call. Okay, great question, but that one I'm going to table to the end. So we're at the top of the funnel. Then we're going to scroll down and we have what's called the middle of the funnel. So now we got people aware of us, thinking of that billboard. Hey, I didn't know you did that. Yeah, I do. So now we have the middle of the funnel. Here is what people aren't doing. This is what I'm telling you. If you do these things, it's going to make your ability to raise capital so much easier. Okay. And they're actually very easy things to do if you set everything up the right way. And I'm going to show you how to do that show you how to do that today as well. Okay. All right. So now what we need to add to our strategy here, people are aware of us. We've gone to these networking events. We got a website. We post up on social media, but we don't just go straight to the deal. We got to start warming people up, right? We got to share with them some more information. So what we're going to do is maybe we're going to do some webinars. We're just going to talk high level about apartment investing. We're not going to go straight to the deal. Maybe we think about doing some online communities, a little bit more advanced, but we got some online communities where people can go and maybe watch some videos. Honestly, guys, think of YouTube. What if you did like 4 or 5 videos on YouTube and you meet these people and you're like, you know what? I got some videos on YouTube if you want to go check them out, because then they can start to learn more about you. And here's a cheat code. The same stuff that you're going to put on YouTube, do that for your webinars. Actually, even better, do a webinar and then save it out to YouTube. You only got to have 4 or 5 videos, talk about the things you need to do. You got that on repeat on your webinars. You do those live, send that over into YouTube. Boom, you're done. Okay. Easy, right? It's not that hard. So the other thing we can do here is email nurturing, right? We're going to get people in and we're going to say, hey, would you be interested? You start sending them some things to get them warmed up. But here's the core of it, guys. You have to start educating people. Does that make sense? Most people who are investing, right? We all want to invest for one thing. We want financial freedom. So we're taught, we're born, from the time we're born, we are taught, go to school, get a job, invest in your 401k, and at some point, maybe you have enough money to retire. That's it. But most people aren't taught about these other ways that you can invest. And your job is to start providing that level of education, right? You can't take someone that you just met on the street corner and say, hey, guess what? I got a deal to invest. And they're like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. So what we're doing here is we're providing education to take someone from over here. I don't know anything about investing in apartments to, oh, now I've learned what I need to learn. And now I'm comfortable. Okay. Now I'm comfortable moving forward, but you can't just take somebody who you first met, haven't shared any details with them, and get them to invest in deals. So this really is about educating people. From there, we go to what I'm calling is the bottom of the funnel. And the bottom of the funnel is, now that you've got people educated, what you're going to do is you have to learn how to do really just 3 very simple things. There's only three things you've got to do at the bottom of the funnel. And this is where most people, I tell you, like this is where the money's made. This is how you actually raise capital. Like you have to get this thing figured out, because if you aren't doing this one thing right here, if you aren't doing this, your ability to raise capital is going to be really, really, really slowed down. So the bottom of the funnel, they've already been made aware of you. They already saw the billboard. And now they started maybe seeing some more billboards. Maybe they started looking you up online, right? Hey, I saw you on social media. I saw your website. Oh, I met you at the networking event. And I've seen some of your YouTube videos. I got some of your emails, right? Now I'm starting to warm up. I like you, right? You're a good person. I like you, and you provided me a lot of education. So then what you have to do is you have to say, cool. Well, if you'd like to learn more, potentially invest, why don't you hop on a call with me? Okay. Just hop on a call with me and we'll chat about it. That's called appointment setting. Okay. That is huge. Learn how to do that. Learn how to get somebody on a call. And it's very simple. All you do is say, hey, would you like to hop on a call? That's it. But you have to do it with intention. Okay. You're literally reaching your hand out and you're pulling somebody through and you're saying, hey, come over here, right? You ready? Whenever you're ready, let's hop on a call. So you have to do that. You have to have a call to action. You get them to hop on a call. Then you have to share something with them on the call. Hey, we're on a call. Like, what are we talking about? So then you're going through the process here of you dive deeper into scenarios. You say, well, if you were to invest in a deal, it would look like this, or this. And here's what the potential tax benefits would look like this. Okay. So, and it's actually very simple. When I'm talking about actually, getting somebody to invest in a deal before I even have one, my whole slide deck, the core, before I get to the question and answer, if you don't include the main slide that has a title on it, I think it's like 4 slides. I'm not exaggerating. I think there's like 4 slides in there. So I don't have a 20 or 30 page PowerPoint presentation or Canva, whatever it is. I really don't. I keep it very simple. I talk about benefits. I talk about rewards. Um, so you have to do this. Get someone on a call. Then how do you have that call? What are things you say? It's very simple. You just, talk about where they're at, where they're trying to be, what their obstacles are. You show them some scenarios and then you say, hey, I think this is a lot better than what you're doing right now. Would you like to invest? And then you get a soft commitment. So this is huge. How many of you, I just see, tell me in the chat, how many of you have already started getting soft commitments for a deal, meaning you've already gone out and talked to people, provided the education, and said, hey, would you like to invest in a deal when I have one? Okay, let me see. Yes, yes, or no. There's no right or wrong answer here. I just want to know if it's something that you've actually tried to do. Have a conversation with somebody before you have a deal. Would you like to invest? Because I tell you what, like this is the magic. This is the secret sauce right here. If you figure out how to do this, it's like getting think of your funnel as a bucket. And if you don't have a bottom of your bucket, you're going to get new leads in, new people to talk to. But if you don't have this conversation, it's like having a hole in the bottom of your bucket, because you could master social media. You could be great at networking events and getting people and sending them emails. But if you've never figured out how to have these conversations right here, you don't really know how much capital you can raise. But imagine if you started doing that. Imagine if you're like, okay, so now I know how to follow this process. And I just get people on a call. It's a very casual call. It's a nice, friendly call. And we get to the end and we're like, hey, would you like to invest? We're like, yeah, I would love to. I would love to invest with you. Like, okay. So Andrew says, mentioned a couple family members a while back. They wanted to see me gain some experience first. Okay, fair. Did they tell you how much they would invest? Did they tell you 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, 250,000? Did you have that actual conversation? All right, cool. Well, if I got that experience, or better yet, Andrew, if I worked with somebody, if I partnered with somebody that had that experience, would you be comfortable investing? Would you like to invest? And if so, how much? Do you see there's a difference there? Not just, hey, would you be interested? There's a difference. All right, you're interested. Let me ask you a few more questions from you. When the opportunity is right, how much would you like to invest? Because now they're telling you that amount. Now you know how much you can raise. Because what you want to do here is you want to learn how to submit an offer on a deal and know how much capital you can raise before you have the deal. Because imagine what would happen if you submitted an offer on a deal and you knew you could raise 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, 5 million. So that would change everything for you. You would solve that problem and you just focus on finding the deals because you wouldn't be worried about, how much money can you get. So here's what you got to do. Here's the bottom of the funnel. So what we're doing is we're taking people and we're saying, hey, just want to let you know what I'm doing, right? And so then you start nurturing them, right? So you're giving them education, some webinars, online community, think YouTube, maybe some email nurturing. And along the way, you're giving them this call to action. Hey, let's hop on a call. Because what you're doing is, and here's another thing. The person who's going to win when it comes to raising capital is a person who's taking the time to build a relationship and build trust. So if there's two deals that get presented, right? Think of yourself. If two deals got presented to you at the same moment in time, both of them had the same criteria, same return on investment, same timeline, and the only difference was one of those deal sponsors had taken the time to meet with you, maybe 2 or 3 times. You've been to a few of their webinars. They've sent you multiple emails. They had just shared a lot of information with you over the last 6 months, maybe a year. They just really been sharing a lot of information with you versus another person who you've met once and you've never had a conversation with. Who are you going to choose to invest with? You're going to choose the person that's taking the time to get to know you, the person that's taking the time to provide education for you. So what we want to do is we get to the bottom of the funnel, but you don't have a deal yet. So now we need to nurture them a bit more. Okay. We don't have a deal yet. You've already given me the commitment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do more education. So these are different email automations. Okay. So the first one is you're sharing with them just how to go from traditional investing to get into apartments, just high level. Okay. Now what we're doing is we're doing things like, let me explain to you how IRR works. Let me explain to you what cash on cash is. Let me explain to you what equity multiple is. Let me explain to you more about how our business plan works. Let me show you some of the deals we've been underwriting. So now what's happening is you're warming them up, you're providing the education so that when you have the deal and you do your pitch, you've already answered all of their questions. Because if there is too much uncertainty, there's too many questions, there's too much confusion, they're not going to invest. A confused investor is an investor who's just not going to invest. Like, no, it seems too complicated. I'm not going to do it. Maybe the next deal. So what you have to do after you get that soft commitment is then you have to start giving them more education so that by the time your deal comes along, they're ready. They're like, man, this is great. Like, I know you've already answered all of my questions. This is an easy thing for me. So you do that through some additional educational email automations. You can do some additional webinars where you dive a little bit deeper. Okay. And maybe here's a good one right here is maybe what you're doing is you're priming the pump and you're providing education on how they could maybe even use their retirement account, setting up a self-directed IRA to invest in a deal. Because now a lot of people don't know they can do that, but they can start working and getting that set up before your deal comes along. Okay, cool, right? Now you're giving them wins along the way. I also recommend if you're underwriting deals, even if you're not winning the deals, that's fine. Hey, I underwrote 20 deals this month. Hey, I submitted 3 offers this month. I met a new broker. Show them that you're serious. So, Andrew, thinking about you, that's something that you can do is like, make people see that you're serious about what you're doing. Like, tell them what you're doing. Don't just let them see 6 months, a year later that, oh, you did something. Tell them the whole time they're gonna be like, you know what? Andrew's taking this serious. Even though it's his first deal, he's probably partnered with some people, but I can tell this guy's taking it serious and he's provided me a lot of education. All right. So now we've done this additional nurturing because we've got them soft commitment. We've done some additional nurturing. Now guess what happens? Now we got a deal and we're going to do capital raising. So we get a deal under contract. You notify your investors, you host a webinar, and now you're fully funded. Do you guys see the difference between the first 3 options we showed you and the option I just showed you, the last one? Can you put in the chat like, yeah, I can see difference, like big difference. Just say yes if you can see the difference. If you can see how, if you follow these steps, it's going to make a huge difference in your ability to raise capital, because you're not just walking up to someone on a street corner and saying, "Hey, I got a deal. Would you like to invest?" You're taking the time to get to know them. You're taking the time to provide the education. You're taking the time to help them see there's a different way. You're building that trust along the way. This right here, guys, this is how you raise capital. I promise you, if you do these things, you can get deals funded in days. Days, not weeks, not with extensions. You can do this in a matter of days. That, honestly, guys, that is the secret to doing this. Now, it took me years to figure this out. So I've been in the space for 7.5 years. I started as a passive investor, very, very, very busy time in my life, raising a family, flipping a house, very busy in my corporate career, and I didn't have the time. So passive investing worked well for me. Then I shifted over. I went through years of struggling. I got lots of additional coaching, and I finally figured it out. And the process I'm showing you is the exact process that my team and I use. Okay, so you can follow this exact process to raise capital. And technically, you can raise the capital, you can get the commitments, right? You don't got to get the money in the bank, but you can raise the capital, you can get the commitments before you ever have a deal. You get it lined up so that when you submit an offer on a deal, you know how much capital you can potentially raise. All right. Before I move on to the next piece, I'm going to go check the chat here. So, is it necessary to find a deal that fits similar funding discussed with lender prior? Andrew, I'm going to try to answer this question. When you're underwriting deals, before you submit an offer, you're going to bring in a lender to look at what's there, and you'll get a better understanding of what terms are going to be able to provide. When you get the deal under contract, there should be very, very, very little change. Probably the only thing that's going to change is the interest rate might have moved a little bit up, a little bit down. So you need to, yes, you need to have a conversation with the lender before you submit an offer on a deal. And I saw someone do this the other day where they submitted an offer on a deal, got an offer accepted. They didn't get a PSA signed, but they got an offer accepted, and they hadn't actually gotten the information they needed from the lender. They hadn't gone and gotten insurance quotes. There's a lot of things they hadn't done. They hadn't actually even finished putting together their business plan. And so we were able to get them out of that before they signed anything, because they would have ended up losing a ton of money. So part of what you need to learn to do, and this is not capital raising wise, underwriting wise, is you actually need to learn to, you basically create your business plan as close as you can before you submit that offer. And it is appropriate at that point to go out and work with certain vendors, whatever you're doing, so that they can close that for you. But what's important is back here in this step right here, where you're getting people to commit with you, is you're managing expectations. So here, this is exactly what I say. All right. So any deal that I'm going to present to you as an investor, the minimum, the minimum requirements the deal is going to have is that it's going to be a 5-year hold. You're going to get about an 80% return on investment, and you're probably going to get a 5 to 6% cash flow. If it doesn't look that good, then I'm not going to show it to you. Okay. I also say, if I can do it, I'm going to do better. And here's what it's going to look like. But I also have to manage your expectations. I'm not going to lie. There's some things out of our control. It could not be that good. And I also show them like a worst case scenario. And I am honest with that. And I use some of my personal experience. But what's most important is you're managing expectations here, right? You are saying, if I find a deal, it's going to look at least like this. If it looks at least like this, would you be interested in investing? And if so, how much would you like to invest? Okay. Then anything that you do when you have a deal right here, as long as you manage expectations at the prior step, they're like, yep, it does everything he told me it was going to do. It looks exactly like what he said. Then that makes it a whole lot easier for you. All right. Can you repeat those minimums? Sure, John. So this is, I mean, every person's different. Depends on what you're looking at and how you're structuring your deals. But for me, what I say is Here's my minimum requirement. When I'm underwriting a deal, I'm always underwriting for 5 years, regardless of if it's a B class, a C class, whatever year it was built, regardless of what the loan structure is like, the business plan, minimum requirements. If I'm going to bring it and I put it in front of investors, I say it's going to be a 5 year hold. Our goal is to get you at least an 80% return on your investment and over those 5 years, and then 5 to 6% cash flow over the life of the deal. So what that translates to is if you had invested $100,000 at the end of the 5 years, we would have given you back, we'll give you back $100,000. Well, over the life of it, there'll be some cash flow that's going to go to your account, right? It might be, $25,000, something like that. And then we're going to give you the balance of that. We're going to give you a big chunk when we sell the property. So you get your $100,000 back plus a big paycheck plus the cash flow. All that's going to be 80,000. So you put 100,000 in, give me 5 years, you're going to get $180,000 back, including your initial investment. Sound good? And the reason why that sounds good is because, most of the people who choose to invest in these deals, they're very limited options, and they've got the stock market or something like that. Maybe they have stock options. They've got their IRAs, their 401ks, and there's a lot of volatility there. And if you can hit that as a minimum return, what happens is you're beating the stock market, and there's less volatility than the stock market. And it's really easy to just be like, hey, well, how's your stock been performing over the last couple of years? And they'll be like, oh, it's good times, it's bad times. You never really know. Right. Well, that doesn't happen like that in the world of apartment investing. It just, people still have to show up and pay the rent. Like there are some things, yes, that are out of our control. COVID, for example, it was a global thing, couldn't control it. But property is still cash flow. Property still made money. So while people lost tons of money in the stock market, apartments actually were pretty resilient. Okay. And that's actually another example that I use when I do that. So, all right. Is this helping you guys out? Can you tell me in the chat, is this helping you guys out? Is this like some aha moments for you? Or you're like, oh my gosh, like it's not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. I'm actually probably even going to go back and watch this webinar and put some of these things in place, because this is, like I said, this is the exact process we're using. Okay. So good. I'm glad you guys are finding this helpful. This is very powerful information, and there's just not a lot out there, to help you figure this stuff out. But let me show you. I'm gonna move on here. I gotta keep moving forward. Gotta respect the time. So how do you do all of this? You're like, Stephen, this is great. How the heck do I put all of this together? So I'm gonna show you. I'm not gonna lie. There's kind of a lot of moving pieces here. And so here is a list of a lot of things that we've used over time. My team and I have, done this and this and this. So you need some type of CRM, is like Salesforce or HubSpot to do your client relationship management. You need some type of email service provider so you can send out these emails. That's like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp. Maybe you're going to do some texting along the way, some automated texting. That's going to be like something like Twilio. I talked about appointment setting. You're going to need something like Calendly or Acuity. We have landing pages. Maybe you need something like ClickFunnels, a website builder, Squarespace or GoDaddy. Social media. Well, guess what? There's some really cool things you can do where, I can just spend a Monday morning and actually create a month's worth of content and get it pre-scheduled. And the whole thing's automated. And I don't have to spend every day posting to social media, every day posting on social media. That's exhausting. So we use something called Buffer. Then also you want to get more advanced. Maybe you want to start posting on social media and people reply back and you're like, hey, go check out my lead magnet, or hey, go schedule a call. Well, you can automate that as well using a tool called ManyChat. Membership hosting, I said maybe what happens is you get people and they start watching videos, or they've committed, you want to bring them into a membership area. And so that's like, Kajabi, if you've heard of that. We also like to get these soft commitment forms, and that could be like a Google form or Monday.com. You can leverage form or survey tools like SurveyMonkey or JotForm. You got to do reporting on where you're at. You got Google Analytics or Tableau. And then to bring all of it together, I'm not going to lie, all these things are not talking to each other. How the hell do you get them to talk to each other? So there's another tool you can use called Zapier. And that's a little bit frustrating. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is something, and we have worked on not every single one of these, right? So we don't use Acuity, we use Calendly. We don't use Wix or GoDaddy, we use Squarespace. We don't use Google, we use Monday, right? So there's all these different things that we just had to prop up along the way. But if there was an easier way to do this, would you guys be interested? Can I get a yes in the chat? If there was an easier way to bring all of this together, so you didn't have to go manage all of these different platforms, you could actually implement this and not have to go set all these things up, would you guys be interested in that? Yeah. Uh, KT lol sounds complex for non-tech folks. I can tell you, I have an IT background. It's complex for tech folks. I'm not I'm not gonna lie. Yep. So BC says it's all these complicated tech stack variables that overwhelm me. Too much tech for me, but very necessary. It's the truth. Okay. Like to keep up in today's world, and I haven't even added Chat GPT on here. I haven't even added AI, but AI is, I should add it on here because we're using it now so much and all these different things. All of us are. And if you want to keep up, you've got to use it. But there's an easier way, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, you guys want to see what that would look like? An easier way to do this, like to just squish all of it together and make it like a million times easier. So what we've done is we put together a single capital raising system. It takes that entire funnel I just showed you and it automates probably 90% of it into a single tool. You take that complicated tech stack, all of these things right here, and we squished it all into one platform. And we call that RaiseGenius. Why do we call that RaiseGenius? Because what we do is we help people become capital raising geniuses. And if you follow that process and you don't have to manage all of this complicated tech, it frees up your time to actually raise capital. I cannot tell you how many hours I have spent setting up all of these other systems, hundreds of hours. I've hired people to help me just manage all this crap. And it's a lot. It's way too much. Like you're talking, you have a full-time person dedicated on your staff to help you with all of this. But what we've done, like I said, is we squished all this down into one very easy to use platform, and we call it RaiseGenius. So what I'm going to do really quick is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what all is in this platform. So in this platform, like I said, it brings all of these things together. It's a CRM and investor funnels. So it's actually a done for you CRM with funnels in it. Think of that funnel we just looked at specifically for raising capital, not only before you have a deal, but when you have a deal. So it brings all that together. The other thing that comes with this system, or I should say the software, is you get twice a week capital raising training. So every Tuesday and Thursday we meet. We always meet and we always dig into strategies to help you out. So we have live group coaching calls every week. We cover strategies, systems, scripts, everything to help you attract, nurture, and close investors. Plus we do live Q&A. So if you're stuck on something, we help you out. Okay. So we're teaching you not only how to, build the funnel, but we're teaching you the strategies that go behind all of this. You also, with this, it's like I said, it's more than just the software. You get access to a whole community. There's a whole mastermind community. This is a private group, people that you can actively, you can work with. They are actively in the space, submitting offers, closing deals, raising capital. It's that group that helps hold you accountable. Okay. You get that support and you can actually collaborate with them. You can do other deals with them. That's huge. Now you go from like, I don't really know a whole lot of people to you're actually in a community of people who are raising capital. That's pretty cool, right? So on top of that, there's also, if you can't make the twice a week calls, or if you want to go learn about something specific, there's a whole huge video training library On-demand lessons covering everything. So not only about, the system in of itself, but how to raise capital. Like, what are those conversations? Like what I showed you today, we take a lot of those things and we go deeper into that to make you much more effective at what you're doing. So this really is everything from building your pipeline to closing deals. It's got all of it in there. And you get tech support. So what happens is instead of having to go hire somebody to help you manage all of this, we'll help you out with that tech support. Okay. We're doing all the heavy lifting. So you get the software preloaded, already working. You need some help because you want to tweak something. That's what we're there for, right? So help you with all the support for the CRM, the automations, the funnels, like all of that stuff to help make sure it's optimized and working for you. And then on top of that, we're actually giving you plug and play email sequences. We're giving you these templates for landing pages, websites, presentation scripts, and it makes it really easy to customize for your specific brand. So it's way more than just a piece of software. It is a complete system, community, and training to help you go from the mistakes I was making, like just hoping, praying, crossing my fingers that if I get a deal, the money's going to come, to now we have a process that's automated. People come to us so that they can give us money for our deals. How would that sound for you? Would that be pretty cool? Would you guys like to learn about how you could get involved in that? So I like to ask permission before I share that with you. I like to ask for permission. Is that okay? Can I show you a little bit more about this? I'll give you the opportunity to have a conversation with me if you want to learn more, if you think it's something that's going to help you out. All right, so I'm going to go over, the next thing I'm going to go over to is, I'm going to go over to the frequently asked questions. And at this point, the other thing I want to do is I want to drop in the chat for anybody who's interested in getting this set up, moving forward, fixing your problems, actually learning how to raise capital, following a proven system, automating your capital raising, right? This is how you're going to create a capital raising machine, okay? If you're interested, I'm offering a one-on-one call. It's just going to be you and me. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at where you're at, exactly what you're doing, like where are you at in your journey? Are you in multifamily? You're not quite there yet. You've done some deals. We're going to figure out where you're at, how much capital you've been able to raise or not raise. What are your goals? What are your goals in the next 6 to 12 months? And what's really holding you back? And if it seems like you're a good fit and you're interested, then I'll show you what everything looks like. Okay. I'll just walk you through that process and I'll show you exactly what it would look like to be part of that community and get set up with that program. And that's it. And if you're not ready for it at that point, totally cool, not a problem. You'll still learn a lot. You'll walk away with some good resources. But if you're ready, we'll get you plugged in and we'll get you unstuck. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through some questions here. I've got some questions coming through in the Q&A. If you've got more questions, throw them in the Q&A. I'm going to answer those. Okay. But I'm also going to cover some of these frequently asked questions. So either scan the QR code, book a call. Okay. Or we should have a link in the chat. There we go. We got a link in the chat that says this is book a call. Either way, whatever's going to work best for you. Book a call. We got it in the chat. All right. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look. I know I got some questions here. At what point in the deal, this one's going back, at what point in the deal can you not get your money back? Is it the earnest money? Andrew, yeah. So that goes back to, it's really the underwriting. So when you submit an offer, they have to accept your offer, and then you move into what's called a purchase and sale agreement. Once you guys both sign the purchase and sale agreement, then you have to put money into an escrow account. Depending on what's in the purchase and sale agreement, that is where you say if your money will go hard, how much will go hard, and how many days until your money goes hard. And that just really all depends on what the market cycle is like. So you can very early on, once you get an offer accepted and you put money into an account, you may be committed and you may be losing money. And I know people who have lost money like that because they could not come up with the rest of the money to close the deal. It's sad, but it's true. All right, let me look for some other questions in here. If you've got questions, just keep putting them in the chat. Let's see. Extremely helpful. Does this raise capital because of people signing up for memberships? Does this help me find an investor? Not sure like where this is going. So this, what happens here, people are not signing up for a membership. It is not a membership. So you're not saying, hey, pay me $200 a month or $200 a year to if you'd like to invest in these deals. You're having a conversation and you're getting what's called a soft commitment for your deals. That's it. You're raising capital through education. So what you have to do is you have to learn to find new potential investors, warm them up, have a conversation with them about show them what investing looks like, ask them if they'd like to invest in a future deal. When you have a deal, then you go back to them and say, hey, I've got this deal. Would you like to invest? That's how you do it. But if you have all those touch points along the way, they're way more likely to invest with you. So this process also helps you find investors because by using like social media strategies or going to the networking events, you are finding new people and then you just bring them into the system and it's automated to nurture, warm them up, and then lead them into that phone call. Can you talk about anticipated equity percentages? Andrew, you're going to have to clarify that question when you say, can you talk about anticipated equity percentages? Um, I'm not quite sure I understand that one. But let me start going through the FAQs here, guys. So what if I've never raised capital? I get this question a lot. What if I've never raised capital? What's cool about it is this system actually, it's going to walk you through everything. So if you're starting from scratch with no experience, this system's really cool because it has so much of it already done for you. And we have people that are in the program who they've gone from zero to getting commitment from people within like a week of joining the group without ever having done a deal, right? They just learned how to have the right conversation to start getting people to commit to investing in a deal. How is it different from just networking or joining another program? So, like I covered, guys, it's a whole system. This is not just a piece of software. It's a system that's going to help you generate leads, can help you build trust, and it converts. It's not these are proven processes. Okay. I'm already posting on social media and I have a website. Do I need a funnel? Yeah, you do. Because if you're just posting on social media or if you just have a website, my question to you is, do you have the other pieces in place that warm someone up, move them through the process, move them into that phone call, have that conversation, then provide additional education so that they're ready? And if the answer is no, then yeah, you need a funnel. That's how this works. You can't just have like something on the surface. You've got to have more to it. What if I don't have a deal right now? And my answer is this is the perfect time to start. The best time to raise capital is before you have a deal, because that way, when you have a deal, you can fund it super fast. Do I need a big email list or investor database to start? No, you do not. And that's a myth, guys. That's a myth. I want you to like break free from that myth. Um, it has nothing to do, honestly, it has nothing to do with like how many people are in your list. It's not at all, because you can have two, three, four, 500, 1,000 people in your list. But if you've never taken the time to educate them, nurture them, hop on a phone call with them, the chances of investing are very small. But if you had like 10 people that invested $50,000 each, that's $500,000. If you had 10 people that would invest $100,000 each, that's $1,000,000. So the difference between, 10 and 1,000 is really taking the time to follow this process. How long will it take before I can raise real money with this system? Most people, they start getting interest or commitments, I'd say 30 to 60 days if they follow the process. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people, they come in and it's like days. It's pretty quick. It's actually pretty awesome when you break free from some of your limiting beliefs, you change your mindset, you shift your mindset a little bit, and all of a sudden it starts coming together for you. Is RaiseGenius just software? Is it coaching too? Great question. So it's software and it's coaching. Okay. So we're giving you the tool to raise capital. We're teaching you how to use the tool, and we're also teaching you how to raise capital. And we're giving you the community. So it's honestly everything. It's think of it like a one-stop shop, right? So we want to see you be successful. If we do our job right, you're going to be successful. Can I still use this even if I already have capital partners or co-GPs? Yeah, absolutely. So what's going to happen is This is going to give you a lot of control back. It's going to, someone called me last night and they said, and this, so you can use this for things other than just multifamily. So they're actually buying an oil and gas company. They called me last night and they said, hey, man, we're like, 45 days into this. We probably got another 30 days. And then we're hoping to close. We're going to have to raise some capital and we can't do it. How much capital do you need? We only need like $500,000. It's because they're not following this process. Okay. It's because they've been reliant on other people. And if they were to follow this, right, if they, even if, they have each other they're working with, what happens is it gives you that ability to control to raise your own capital and reduce your reliance on others. The call to me was, hey, can you help us raise capital? And I was like, well, how can we structure this? I mean, that's literally what it is. So you go from, if you learn how to do this, you will go from, ah, man, like, I don't even know if I should submit this offer to people will call you on deals they've got because they need help raising capital. Who would like to have that? Who would like to focus more on raising capital and have people call you and you get to pick the deals that you bring money to? That would be really cool. Okay. That's where you want to be. What kind of support will I get once I get started? So you're going to get an onboarding call. We're going to get you all set up with this. I already mentioned you get the live coaching calls, you get the tech support, you get a community of other people. We have the training libraries. We're always updating that. We bring in people to or subject matter experts, maybe marketing experts. We're bringing someone in who's an expert on structuring these deals from a legally compliant way, whether you're doing a 506C, 506B, maybe it's crowdfunding, something like, what it is. We're going to bring in an attorney to talk about that. We had someone the other day who came in and talked about hiring a VA to help you do these things. And then the last question I have here is, how do I know this will work for me? If you follow the steps, even if you don't have the experience, if you follow the steps, it works. Okay. You just have to follow the steps. And think of it like this. At some point, most of you probably know how to ride a bicycle. At some point, you didn't know how to ride a bicycle. At some point, you fell off of the bicycle. You might even have some scars, right, on your knees or your arms from when you fell down. But the point is, you didn't give up. You got back on, and now you can ride a bicycle and you can enjoy it. It is no different here. Okay. Raising capital it's a skill you can learn. If you've never done it or if you've tried and you've sucked, it's not your fault. It's something that you can learn to do. It's a very learnable skill with the right system. All right. I've got just a couple more questions here. You mentioned earlier about ending up with low equity in a deal. If you enter a deal but put up 0%, what percentage of equity is to be expected? Does that convert to the percentage of cash flow that goes to each person in the deal? Andrew, you've got some really good questions. I'm gonna tell you the best thing to do. I would hop on a call with me. We can dig into those things there because it sounds like you might be a little bit earlier on in how to actually even structure a multifamily deal. But you're probably also very eager to start learning how to. Oh, Andrew, we got a call scheduled tomorrow. Great. So, Andrew, I'm going to help answer some of these questions, right? We're going to pick this apart a little bit deeper because it's kind of hard to do this over a Zoom call, or it's hard for you to give me feedback other than putting in the chat. So, and I can talk to you about structuring the deals and how you get equity because technically, Andrew, here's the short answer. Technically, you can raise capital for a deal, not have any of your own money that you put into it, but raise money for a deal and you earn your equity by the amount of money that you can raise for the deal. Now, you've got to be active in the deal. You've got to help out with the deal, right? You can't just, I'm speaking broad terms here. You can't just raise capital for a deal. You generally have to have some level of participation in a deal. There's exceptions, there's caveats, there's things you can do, but if you are able to raise capital for a deal, you will be able to get equity in that deal, and you may not even have to put any of your own money into it. Okay. So there's some strategies there, but on our call tomorrow, we'll dig into it. Okay. So tomorrow, Andrew, you're going to learn more about RaiseGenius. You're going to learn more about the program, and I will answer those other questions for you. Okay. So guys, look, I really, really, really appreciate your time. If you found this helpful, If you want to just see if this would help you out, hop on a call. It's only 1 hour of your life that could actually change everything for you. It could totally change your future, because if you can figure this out, what does that do for you? What does that unlock for you? How does that change your life going forward? If you're ready to do that, scan this QR code or click the link, book a call, and I will see you soon. All right. Thanks guys so much for joining. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next week.